Hi everyone, so today we're going to talk about the 5-paragraph essay and why that's a really good thing to have at the back of your head whenever you're going to write any kind of text. So the 5-paragraph essay is usually built up by logically 5 paragraphs, but in some cases it might consist of 7 or 9 paragraphs, but it will still have the same basic structure. So we're going to have a closer look at the structure, and I'm going to give you some helpful tips about how to think about the different aspects. Now, as you can see, I've divided my 5 paragraphs like this, starting with the introduction, and then I have 3 paragraphs that goes together in the middle, and then the conclusion and summary at the end. And we're going to have a look at each of these one at a time and try to familiarize ourselves with what's important in each part. So the introduction is naturally the first thing that we need to think about, and the introduction should do 3 things, I like to say. And the things I want the introduction to do is firstly to raise interest, because you want to grab your reader's attention to make sure that he or she actually continues to read your text and not moves on to someone else's. So you need to raise interest, and there's several ways to do that. One would be to ask a question like, what is a good life, or should drugs be legalized, or something like that. Another good way to raise interest is to say something provokingly just at the beginning of your text, like smoking should be banned everywhere, or something like that. Something that would get people's minds working and perhaps making them want to read on. Alright, that's the first thing. The second thing that the introduction should do is introduce the topic. So let's say that you're going to write an essay about a good life. So then in the introduction you need to say something to get people closer to the things you actually want to talk about. So you might start by saying something like, what is a good life? It can mean different things to different people, but some examples might be things considering money or health or social life and so on. So then you mention them already in the introduction, and you've got people starting to think about the things that you're actually going to go into deeper in the later part of your text. So you say something fairly general about the topic to sort of just get them guided into the right direction. The third thing that the introduction should do is specify the goal with your text. And what I mean with specifying the goal with your text is that you're writing this text for a specific reason. And no, I don't mean because your teacher told you to, but the other reason why. So if, again, your essay is what is a good life, then you might want to say something about how your text is going to try to specify what different things a good life can be to different people, and what it might have been in different times during history. So a good way to specify the goal with your text is to just start with the sentence, in this essay I am going to, and then you just say what you're going to do. So you might say, in this essay I'm going to explore the different meanings of a good life, or you could say that in this essay I'm going to tell you why smoking should be banned. And then the reader is immediately aware of what you're going to do in your text, which will help him or her, of course, in the further reading. All right? So the second part of the text should be the main body. and that's basically paragraphs 2, 3, and 4. And the main body, that's what you do, what you've said you're going to do in the introduction. So basically you could say that the introduction should tell the reader what you're going to do, then the main body should do that, and then in the conclusion summary, which we'll get back to, you'll tell them again what you've done. So it's fairly straightforward in that way. And what you need to think about with the main body is that it consists of 3 different paragraphs, and these 3 different paragraphs needs to be about different things. So try to think about that. It should be one main idea for each paragraph, and use the material that you're given wisely in order to plan your text and make sure that you actually talk about everything that has got to do with one specific thing in one paragraph. Of course, sometimes you might need to divide it into 2 because it's slightly different and because you're writing a longer text, but the general idea is that you should have one main idea for each paragraph. And here I want to say that it's really good to use the material that you're given. Like, let's say that you're going to write about a good life, and you've gotten some question because whoever did the assignment wanted to help you in that way and to get you starting to think. Then look at those questions and see if there's any connections between any of them. Possibly some of them might be about your own view of a good life, and some of them might be about what people in general think is important to have a good life, and then some of them, or one of them or something like that, might be about changes over time. And then there you go, you have 3 different aspects to talk about, and then you can easily divide your text according to that. So I really encourage you to look closely on all the material that you're given when you're going to write an essay, because most of the time someone has had a thought about it and given you some help to start with. All right, so remember that when you write. And when you're done writing your 3 main paragraphs, then you need to move on to the conclusion or the summary. And as I said before, the main focus in the conclusion should be to just summarize your main points or the most important things that you've said. So let's say you've written this essay about banning smoking everywhere, then you need to remind your reader of your most valid argument, so that that's what your reader is left with, and then add that again in the conclusion, so that that's the last thing on the reader's mind. All right, so to just shortly summarize what I've said, the 5-paragraph essay is a good structure to fall back on, and it consists of 3 parts. The first part is the introduction, where you raise interest, introduce a topic, and specify the goals with your text. The second part of the text is the main body, and that's where all the action is. That is where all your main information is. It's divided into 3 or possibly more paragraphs, and each paragraph deals with one main idea. All right. And then at the end you have the conclusion, where you summarize your most important parts. And if you follow this structure and you take a close look at all the information you're given in the instructions to your essay, I'm sure you'll do splendid and write a really good essay. All right, good luck.